It's a very exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
If you're in the business of making money, it would behoove you to be a safe and inclusive space.
Whether you agree with what someone is saying has nothing to do with his right to say it.
Haters wanna hate, lovers wanna love. I don't even want none of the above. I want to piss on you. Piss you up, piss on you, I'll pee on.
What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrifice my time so you don't have to. So there's a couple things we're going to end up reading real quick, and then we'll go right back to the main topic as is. I don't really feel comfortable talking about this unless I give you the backstory and the lore and my reasoning, although it should be obvious to any sane person who isn't a protest thinking with their heart. But again, just for clarity, let me give you first the article that's talking about Brock Lesnar coming back to the roster, and then we'll talk about the Janel Grant stuff. So this is coming from SC Scoops. It says Brock Lesnar's WWE status revived. Former UFC champion back on roster page. WWE is well on the road to WrestleMania, and we haven't heard a peep from Brock Lesnar. His name was scrubbed from WWE programming after his controversial involvement in a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, but now it appears that Lesnar may be getting closer to a return. There was a belief within the WWE that Brock Lesnar was 100% done with the company. Now, it appears that there may be some light at the end of the tunnel because the Beast Incarnate popped up on the company's official roster once again. Lesnar's current contract status. WWE's official website updated their roster today, and Brock Lesnar's name is back on the list. He was removed from the list and placed on the alumni page before. Now, he is on the current roster once again. The company removed Lesnar from all future creative plans. Nothing was being pitched for him, but you never know if this was new development, but you never know if this new development is a sign that his hiatus could be coming to an end. The company took efforts to erase Brock Lesnar from history after his name was attached to Janel Grant's lawsuit. He was also removed from WWE 2K24 as a playable character, although his model and data are still within the game files. And as you guys can see, this is him right here. As far as the Twitter thing is considered, apparently he was moved, and now he's back, and that's fine, I guess. The decision to exclude Lesnar from creative plans comes in the wake of his association. How many times are you going to actually repeat that over and over again? The lawsuit accuses McMahon of involvement in various forms of misconduct, including sexual assault, abuse, degradation, trafficking, and I guess that's it. Grant alleges that her involvement in sexual activities were discussed in negotiations involving Lesnar, facilitated by McMahon without her consent. What does that? Grant alleges that her involvement in sexual activities was discussed in negotiations involving Lesnar, facilitated by. You sent him. See, that's the next part that I want to go to real quick. Is there anything else to talk about in all this? And it's claimed that Lesnar requested a video of her urinating before a planned encounter that never materialized. The lawsuit details McMahon providing Lesnar with Grant's personal cell phone number and explicit content. At this time, Brock Lesnar is not booked at the WrestleMania 40 or for WrestleMania 40. He was previously booked to take on Gunther for the IC title. That match was reportedly nixed, and the controversy surrounding the lawsuit came up. And this right here is just a bunch of other stuff talking about it's just filler for the most part. But there's something else I want to talk about, so check this out also. If you guys want to read the entire article, I'll leave this down in the description box, along with the actual lawsuit that was constructed by her DA, so you can get more pinpoints. So you can actually educate yourself on the situation before, talking about it. Because I think some of you are, and I could be wrong, maybe some of you did read it and you're just being, mischievous for the sake of it. But I think some of you guys might have a bit of misinformation, or at least not the correct context as far as what's going on within the lawsuit in itself. So again, I'll leave it down in the description box below. I just want to read this portion regarding Lesnar. Regarding Lesnar, Grant alleged that after he signed a new contract, McMahon allegedly texted Grant that part of the deal was, well, fucking you. McMahon allegedly gave Lesnar Grant's cell phone number, and Lesnar allegedly asked her to send a video of herself urinating. Lesnar, who is married to former WWE star Sable, allegedly told Grant he wanted to set a play date in December of 2021, but a snowstorm canceled plans. So the reason why I read all that for you guys was to, again, give proper context as far as what was Lesnar's involvement in all of this and him being brought back to the company. Because again, there's a bunch of people who are mischaracterizing this and using this as a way to virtue signal on the situation in order to look good about themselves. Because that's what it is. That's, in the end of the day, when you guys talk about wokeism and all this other kind of stuff, yes, in the end of the day, woke is just a colloquial, how do you say colloquial, there we go, easier for me to say, term to essentially, pretty much say that you're aware of your political surroundings, you're aware of what the world actually is. Essentially, it's just a way to kind of make you a victim. That's what woke is. Woke is a way to pretty much establish your mind and make, like, you saying that you're a victim is wokeism, essentially saying, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And everything that's around you is not your fault. It's your environment. That's what woke is in the end of the day, right? And that's what these people are virtue signaling on behalf of when talking about the women situation. Women are going to... without taking into context anything that's regarding Janel Grant. So just to reiterate this one more time, and again, you can look at the documents down below inside the description box if you want to, get a pinpoint as far as what I'm discussing, because I think, again, the majority of you don't know what the hell is going on. She alleges sex trafficking took place between her and Vince McMahon, and one of the people that were involved in said sex trafficking, as far as her being passed off to, was Brock Lesnar. Now, again, we're still waiting for some clarity as far as Vince McMahon's side. I think he did put out a disposition, if I'm not correct. Well, I think he actually put something out also. Actually, I think it's within that same document because it was split in half. But I think when I read further, you got the plaintiff side also. So you can actually go on that and look at Vince's side of the argument. And also, it's like right underneath Janel Grant's if you keep scrolling down in that document. But as far as which I find fucking hilarious, by the way, because we can look at Janel's side and just automatically accusation. But with Vince McMahon, it's like, he did the exact same thing Janel Grant did as far as just putting out, his DA just putting out something as far as defending himself, and nope. The logic, that's what I mean when I said the woke stuff in regards to this portion being about the women, right? It's like the logic behind all of this in the end of the day is so fucking ludicrous. So we can just look at Janel Grant's side, and then Vince puts out something just like Janel put out something, and we don't even take it seriously. Not that I'm saying it's worth taking seriously, because it's not, but that's what I mean as far as okay, well, that's literally what Janel is doing. We shouldn't be taking any of this seriously until we get a verdict in itself, right? But of course, no. But going back to Brock Lesnar, because this is who this is all about in the end of the day. All the stuff that you've seen, all the stuff that we read about, not one time was there an accusation at all that Brock Lesnar physically touched her, physically came in contact with her, or even did anything. Now, quite frankly, to be honest with you, as far as a legal perspective is considered, because we're not stupid, we aren't playing dumb. If any of this happens to be true, which by the way hasn't even been confirmed yet, but let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just say this is all true. In the end of the day, we know what Brock is alluding to, obviously, right? He's asking for videos of her peeing, and he's asking for a play date. He wants to fuck the shit out of her. We completely understand that. That's obvious. But from a legal perspective, I do want to say that he did use a bunch of euphemisms outside of the P video. Not to mention, you will have to prove what was his reasoning for one of the P video and what did he mean by a play date. Now, again, we know what he means by a play date, but I mean, as far as circumstantial was considered within the court of law, you would have to prove the meaning behind both of those messages. You have to prove why did he want the P video, and you will have to prove what did he mean by playtime, right? What did he mean by a snowstorm canceled playtime? Again, just saying, the court is all about, you have to, it's reasonable doubt in the end of the day. But that's literally just proving him to be a miscreant from a social standpoint, right? And the court of law, he's not going to get in trouble. Neither will Vince McMahon, by the way. Neither one of them are going to get in trouble. But even within a social perspective, I do find it very, very, very ironic, and I do find it very, very funny. The same people, right, who are going after Brock Lesnar because he's mistreating women. The same people who are saying this, right? Because you can say whatever you want about Vince McMahon, right? What he did was gross. That's been proven in text messages. We can take that for what it's worth at a surface level because it's been proven. Vince McMahon is a devious son of a bitch. My only contention happens to be with the sex trafficking allegation, but as far as him actually engaging in the activity with Janel Grant, yeah, he's a sexual miscreant, deviant motherfucker. But at the same time, let's not pretend as if Janel Grant was just lying there being shitted on her head. She was paid for that. But like I said, this is about Brock Lesnar. Going back to him real quick. You cannot connect Lesnar to what Vince McMahon actually did, that he was proven to have done. And like I said, I find it funny how so many people are going after Brock Lesnar about this, but these will be the same motherfuckers if a Christian or someone of a religious nature, except if you're Muslim, right, will come at them with the same information about something else as far as criticizing it. They even made up a term for it. Didn't they call it kink shaming, right? Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I think they call it kink shaming, right? When you look at something that somebody's doing that's obviously fucking deviant, it's fucking horrible, right? Like, but it's within their personal life. But when you criticize it, it's, oh, you're kink shaming, right? Or even better, when you have, and I'm not comparing the circumstances, but I'm just talking about the deviant nature of all this and just trying to prove the double standards that some of these motherfuckers have from a behavior standpoint. Whenever you talk about a woman who's going around fucking everybody and then you criticize that, then it's like, oh, you're slut shaming, right? Okay, cool. That's your prerogative in the end of the day. But if you're coming back to Brock Lesnar and all he wants to see is a girl peeing in the video, and you're criticizing that in particular, like, I don't know. No, you can't have it both ways. That's a double standard. And I know you're going to have some moral purists come at me, which, by the way, I would actually appreciate if you were a moral purist talking about the situation. And I know that they're going to come at me and they're going to be like, whoa, Devontae, you're not looking at the context properly. It's not about Brock Lesnar asking for her to send him a pee video. It's about the understanding that this person was a victim in this situation, sending him a pee video. She didn't do it consensually. Didn't you just read the article, Devontae? Vince gave the number to Lesnar and Lesnar texted her out of nowhere to... Okay, folks, I just want to go right back. Again, description box below. Look at the documents, okay? Part of the deal, according to what Janel quoted Vince saying, which means that she was actively participating in it. Even some of her text messages, the very little that we've gotten so far, because we haven't even gotten the full course of her text messages, which she's an active participant going back and forth with Vince using euphemisms like baby and shit like that. Vince said part of the deal was fucking you, right? And when you go back to what he was saying otherwise, saying like, hey, this guy's gonna fuck you, this guy's gonna fuck you, this guy's gonna fuck you, this guy's gonna fuck you. And she's actively agreeing to this using context based off of the few text messages we got so far, referring to Vince as baby, and even talking about some of the other guys who are alleged in all this, as far as, oh, I'm tired, this, that, and the third. My point being is she's actively engaging with multiple men, taking money as a part of the deal that she quoted Vince saying verbatim to her. My point being is, even if you were to take the moral purist route as far as Brock Lesnar and say something on the lines of, well, Devontae, it's a victim using it's a victim. It's a victim who's sending Brock Lesnar the pee pic. It's not just about the kink part. It's about the victim doing this. Brock knew that she was a victim and he actively participated in all this. From my understanding, from what it looks like, looking at the text messages, from what it looks like, Brock probably just thought, well, these guys are using her and she's agreeing to all this. Well, fuck, what's the big deal if I do it? I'm an active participant in regards to what she agreed with the other man that we are now calling into question and saying sex trafficking, even though it doesn't look like she was coerced at all. Again, I will wait for the documents to be proven otherwise, but we have gotten anything yet. Not even anything from her DA alleging that there was some coercing involved in this. The most that I got out of all this, which, by the way, I don't think because you still have to prove that. Under the court of law, you would still have to prove that. The only thing that I got out of all this that is even remotely close to coercion in regards to Vince McMahon is the fact that he actively tried to make her I forgot the position, but it has something to do with his legal department. Like, that's the only thing, that he gave her a job if she decided to do this. But all Vince is probably going to say is he's going to deny everything and say like, hey, I gave her the job because she was qualified for the position. Which, by the way, that's what he's probably... This is such an easy case to beat. And I don't think you guys understand that. That's from a legal perspective. And then when I take into context the actual societal perspective from all this, obviously Vince is full of shit. We actively know Vince is full of shit. But literally and figuratively. But we also know the person who's participating in all this is also full of shit. Which apparently we're not even remotely trying to take into context to look at from that perspective. If you want to say Vince is full of crap as far as what he's going to put across in the court of law when we know what's going on for real, bet. I agree. But why not extend that same premise to Janel, who clearly is just trying to get more money out of Vince? Which is her right. That's her right. Whether she's suing for the remainder $2 million or whether she's just trying to pull, a gotcha and she wants to take off the court law as far as the NDA by voiding it and saying, hey, I want to go after you for more money. That's her prerogative. She can do that. But let's not pretend as if this is a victim in a situation. This is highly, highly calculated what she's doing. She is not a victim. And her not being a victim does not make Brock Lesnar a perpetrator at all. Especially given that he wasn't even in contact with her. Even if he was in contact with her, again, from a societal perspective, she's already essentially agreed to be passed around to man, making millions of dollars. What the fuck else is Brock supposed to think? Well, fuck, if the homies are having fun, can I not get none? Is essentially what he's coming off. And that's if he were to actively have been there. This is absolute double standard hypocrisy at the finest level. No matter what route you take in the end of the day, it comes right back to Janel Grant not being the victim. And once you actually acknowledge that she's not a victim, everything starts to crumble down as far as everybody else who's participating in this. Because the whole crux of this is her feels that you are now alleging based off of your lame-ass wokeism. And now Brock Lesnar has to suffer for it. It's bad enough that Vince McMahon is suffering for it. And again, there's a lot of things you can say about Vince McMahon. I'm not advocating for Vince being back in WWE because his position at the time did not warrant him doing any of that. Let me make myself perfectly fucking clear. I am not a fan of Vince McMahon doing what he did. I don't think it's sex trafficking, but even then, who cares? What he did in that position as a boss is highly, let me say this again because people they miss this part. Okay? It's highly reputable. Okay, irreputable, I guess would probably be the word for it. He does not need to be in that position acting like that kind of person, acting like that much of a fucking clown. A degenerate clown at that. Why would you want a guy in that position? That still doesn't make Janel a victim though, in the end of the day. You can have both of those thoughts. Janel ain't no fucking victim, and Vince McMahon definitely should not be in that position for what he did to Janel. What Janel agreed to. And then you have Brock Lesnar, and now he's back on the roster, right? Now he's back on the roster, apparently. Now he's starting to be phased back into everything, and people are now, in an uproar. Oh, Brock Lesnar, oh, you're going to bring this guy back. Oh, do you know the things that he did? Literally, at this point, he did no different than what you average people engage with in regards to your kink shaming that everybody, apparently, if you were to bring this up, you get reported and kicked off the internet because you're bullying. Bully. But when it fits a certain narrative around a certain people, happens to be of European race, by the way, and it happens to be, that sex happens to be with an M rather than an F, that's when things start to get a little bit more convoluted, am I right? That's when things start to a little bit askew towards just a little bit away from the actual perception of what you had originally. Yeah, no, I don't fuck with that and I don't get down like that. You had an original narrative, so run with that narrative. And when you had that original narrative that you ran with, there was nothing wrong with Brock Lesnar, right? There was nothing wrong with Brock Lesnar. But when you bring someone in, and here's your chance to virtue signal over them. Now, all of a sudden, at the end of the day, oh, holy shit, Brock Lesnar is the worst person in the world because he was involved in this situation because of what Vince did. Because all you hear in the end of the day, you don't hear the actual context of what each participant was involved in. All you hear is woman being shitted on a head from this guy, and this guy is associated with him asking for a P video. This woman you have in your mind is damaged. Therefore, you do anything to her involved in a situation, you're automatic. No, that's not how anything should work in life. You connect the people to the things that the people have done, and then you define whether or not it was bad or if it was good. And then once you have whether or not it was bad, for an example, you ask yourself who was actually harmed. And if someone was actually harmed, there should be some type of liable. And if he is the liable, then consequences should be put on that person. Those consequences should meet what actually happened for real, as far as like, because you don't want to overstep your boundaries as far as consequences are considered, right? You don't want to put someone in jail for 50 years for stealing a pack of bubble gum, but consequences shall be dealt based off of the circumstances of what the person did. There ain't no fucking consequences for people who aren't fucking victims, who are engaging in situations that weren't even completed. And even if they were fucking completed, it's with a person who actually went out of her way, was complicit in the activity that she's actively fucking suing for. You are all clowns. Clowns, clown world. Like I said, description box below. Educate yourself. If you want to read the entire article, the very last one I read as far as Brock Lesnar is considered, go for it. I'll leave that down in the description box below, but I highly recommend reading. No, you don't have to worry about Vince McMahon's. Don't worry about Vince McMahon's portion. You can read it if you want to. It's there. But focus on Janel. Look at her wording. Look at what her DA, who is trying to defend her, is saying. And then you tell yourself whether or not the crime, not the action, the crime that Vince is being accused of is actually warranted. And then you can spin that off and you can tell yourself whether or not Brock Lesnar being removed to begin with was a good idea. Because, newsflash, it fucking wasn't. As always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. Deuces, P. Eyes.